Hello, thanks for joining me today for my first regular bi-weekly release. It is episode 9 of Business in the Bedroom, a bootstrapper's guide to doing it. I'm your host, Jemmy Legagneur, and today I'm going to talk to you about how the key to sales is all about doing less talking and more listening. This episode is brought to you by Flintstone Media. Listen in and let's do this. So as you heard me say at the top, the key to sales is doing more listening and less talking. It's really about figuring out how to solve a potential client's pain point. So what is a pain point? Well, at its simplest measure, a pain point is a problem waiting for a solution. More specifically, it's your potential client's problem waiting for your solution. You'll discover it by making sure that you listen to that potential client first. Because if you do so, they will reveal all that you need to hear in order to close that sale. But if you don't pause to listen first, you can end up going into a pitch all hot, like totally on fire, only to realize you've completely missed the mark. Don't want to do that. So let's make up a test case study to illustrate this. We'll say there's a company, we'll call it Acme Widget Company. If you went to business school, you're very familiar with Acme Widget Company. As far as I know, it's not a real company, and widgets aren't a real thing that you can manufacture. They exist as a thing in the digital world, but in manufacturing, it's fake. Again, as far as I know. It's just like this nondescript product term. So Acme Widget Company was often the company in my business classes that was used in all the different case studies and examples. So until I get more creative, guess what? You're stuck with it. Acme Widget Company it is. So Acme Widget Company, they are a growing company looking to refresh their website. That's all you know. So Jason is a web developer trying to build a business on web development and design. And he does a ton of research when he lands this meeting with Acme Widget Company. He creates an entire presentation. And when he goes in to meet with them, he goes in hot, just like the Micro Machines guy. Do you remember him? Well, if you don't know what I'm referencing from my childhood, allow me to remind you.
This is the Micro Machine Man, presenting the most miniature motorcade of micro machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible micro machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more. Perfect pocket portables to take any place. And there are many miniature playsets to play with, and each one comes with its own special edition micro machine vehicle and fun, fantastic features that miraculously move. Raise the boat lift.
What? Now, don't get me wrong. This was a massively successful campaign, and Motormouth John Machida, who was the face and mouth of that Micro Machines campaign, absolutely nailed it. He was a force. He's super talented. But you are not trying to fast pitch Toy Joy to a 7-year-old. No, you are that 7-year-old now having to turn around and pitch their desire for those micro machines to the people holding the purse strings, the parents. Eek, yikes, gadzoots. So that will be you. You will be the kid convincing a company to loosen its purse strings. And this is the approach our fake friend Jason took after all his research on Acme. He went into that meeting hot. He went into that meeting excited. Acme has never seen such enthusiasm. But how many words did you actually pick up from Mr. Micro Machines Motormouth? Unless you're 7, probably practically none. And the business that you're pitching to doesn't want you to treat them like a 7-year-old you're fast talking. Even if you don't intend to come off just like a slick oil salesman, you run that risk when talking to decision makers like that. Alternatively, let's now take Jacinda. So Jacinda does some preliminary research on Acme just the same. She learns who the people are that will be involved in the meeting. She learns a bit more about the company's history. She does her own little assessment of the company's current website, so she has an opinion on that. But rather than giving a lengthy motormouth pitch about the website design that she's already come up with for them, because she hasn't actually wasted her time drafting up a design yet, Jacinda instead at that meeting does a quick overview of herself and her company's services and capabilities, super quick, super short. Then she asks them a very simple yet extremely important question. What are you hoping to accomplish with your new website? Then she sat back and listened. See, Jason went in with all his bells and whistles and really nailed his presentation. But though he came up with a beautiful new web design to propose to Acme, it just didn't meet their needs. He didn't take time to discover first their pain points so that he could then address them. Whereas Jacinda went into her meeting and opened up by telling them a little bit about her company and services and showing a few samples of her work. But then she asked them what they are looking to achieve and accomplish with that new website. And that is where the magic happened. That was the difference. Jacinda spent the next 10 minutes listening to the Acme team describe how they are trying to break into the Portland, Oregon market, but aren't sure the best approach to take. Creating a new website with some copy that relates to that mission was all that they had come up with yet. Now, knowing that, because she took time to first listen, Jacinda begins her proposal presentation with no pre-prepared design concept, but rather by talking about all the ideas she can bring to the table to help them accomplish these goals, now that she is now aware of these goals. She had no pre-designed concept to show them because she decided she would first listen and discover their needs and pain points so she could better rise to the challenge. Throughout her presentation, Jacinda continuously referenced their needs and then paired it with her solutions for those needs because she knew now what those needs were. In fact, because she had listened first, she was able to bring in some past experience she hadn't anticipated before she walked in the door. See, what you don't know about Jacinda is that in her former career, she worked often with small business associations and learned how to navigate them. Though she's never worked with the Portland SBA, she was still able to offer Acme the idea of reaching out to them and some pointers on how to start exploratory conversations that can really help Acme partner with great small businesses in Portland. I'll give you one guess who landed the sale. Bottom line, listening closes sales, not talking. So I'll also offer an example from my own business to further illustrate not only this point, but its true value beyond just closing more sales. I am a complete nerd at heart, like nerdy nerd. And so when I first got into podcasting, I totally geeked out over all the tech. I wanted to learn to edit, to produce, to create music beds, and to learn how the RSS feed works. I wanted to learn live broadcasting and figure out all the tools. I wanted to know all the things. I was nerding out. I was so excited. So naturally, I assumed in the beginning of first branching out to help other people become podcasters that they were going to be excited about all that stuff and wanted to learn all that themselves too. I thought what they wanted help from me with was just helping them avoid big mistakes by advising them on the basics like equipment and how to set up their hosting account, and also coaching them on how to be a good podcaster, have those long-form interviews sound more like relaxed conversations, finding guests, etc. And boy, was I wrong. And I didn't discover how wrong I was until I stopped walking into the room or the call or whatever meeting to sell my services, assuming that I knew exactly what they wanted and needed. Yes, all of the above was part of what potential clients were looking for. But it wasn't until I started listening that I uncovered the truth. That a lot of the podcasters starting in the more recent times, the last 2 to 3 years, they really just want to focus on the content. They not only couldn't care less about the tech, but the tech scares the crap out of them, okay? Now, I'm speaking very generally, of course. My clients really do run the range, and some of them really do want to learn all of that stuff. But where I have truly found my sweet spot are those clients for whom I figured out their main pain point was that they just didn't want to do anything but focus on the content. They want to be crockpot podcasters, as I very affectionately call them. They want to set it and forget it. They want something super turnkey and to pay someone to worry and handle all the rest. And furthermore, many of them want me to really step up in a consultative way, even essentially deciding on their format and helping them evolve their show over time. I also made the mistake of assuming everyone would be as budget weary as I was, projecting my own startup brokenness onto them. But I realized that so often their pain point wasn't related to my price point in the slightest. Their pain point was related to their time, which largely, as business owners and brand developers themselves, they don't have a lot of to focus on the production of a podcast. Once I realized that they were pretty much willing to pay whatever it takes to get all of those problems to go away, I was able to start speaking their language to meet them more appropriately where they were and to raise my fees as a result. They just wanted their content out there without having to sacrifice what little or non-existent extra time they had, period. And in fact, because our friend Jacinda from earlier really took the time to understand Acme Widget Company's needs and how much they are willing to invest in getting to that goal, she was not only able to close the sale with them, but even seeing that her proposal to them would require a higher price point than what Jason had offered, Acme chose her anyway. They paid her more because, one, they were confident she wants to understand their needs. 2, she's proven competent enough to meet those needs. And 3, she afforded herself the opportunity to tell them even more of a reason why she is a sound investment because of the experience she brings to the table, having navigated SBAs in the past. And she wouldn't have even had a clue to bring that up if she hadn't listened first. See my points? All of them? You have to listen to truly know your potential client's pain points, to not only be more likely to close the sale, but to also see if you can wrap more into the service offering, like adjunct services, consulting, or just additional knowledge about a particular space, like Jacinda knowing SBAs, and justify a higher price point. You will also learn over time to be able to read between the lines of potential clients who are either A, being coy about their pain points, which I still don't understand, but I run into this every once in a while. Like clients just, they don't want to tell you stuff. I don't know why, but they're coy. So you have to kind of like really read between the lines. Or sometimes they're just not sure of what their pain points are or how to express them. So you really will learn over time how to read between those lines and figure that out. Your brand also will and should evolve over time as the pain points of your clients and their industries evolve. As your portfolio grows, you'll reach milestones where you're able to justify charging more. You'll learn which kinds of clients you can connect best with and be able to land more of those sales. And all of that I'll cover more in depth in a later episode about pricing yourself. Yes, again, another promise of a later episode, but that just means so much more to come. But over time, you'll figure out also which pain points you're not only best at solving, but you'll get better at knowing how to respond to and address each one for your clients. But that happens over time by doing a lot of listening first. Thanks for tuning in. I'm assuming you're listening to this because you're either running a business in your bedroom or you're thinking about it. Well, I want to hear from you, and so do all the other fellow listeners in this Business in the Bedroom classroom with you. If you have anything to add here or to argue with me about, or if you want to ask a question as you're going for your own goals, you can have your voice featured right here on the show. Head to the show's website, bizinthebedroom.com, hit the button and record your message. I can't wait to hear from you. And I don't want to forget to also mention that there is now an awesome way for you to support and influence this show and gain a ton of extra tips, resources, and action items that can really propel you forward. It's called Becoming a Patron through the Dreamers Become Doers Patreon program, a more exclusive community for those really wanting to supercharge their way to success. And you can find the info on how to join also at bizinthebedroom.com. And bizinthebedroom.com is also where you can go to email me, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and to join the free Dreamers Become Doers group on Facebook. So again, it's bizinthebedroom.com. That's BIZ in the bedroom.com. And remember to hit it hard, keep the lights on.